Hi, Capricorn. It's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology, and today we are discussing the horoscopes for April of 2026. So, this is going to be for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and not necessarily that order. We would say Rising, Sun, and then Moon, but you can check them all out because they will all be relevant in some way, right? So, Capricorn, April starts the month with the full moon in Libra. I have a separate video on that. It is already up if you'd like to view that. And that full moon will be, something interesting because it is the opposite sign of Aries and the sun is in Aries, right? The opposite sign is always important in astrology. It sure is. That's why we all have one. We all have an opposite sign, right? So, the sun is in your fourth house, the first half of the month, really, so to speak, right? Uh, and so the sun in the fourth house, Sagittarius, it's kind of showing you something about your emotional needs. It's showing you something about home and family, perhaps, or your support system. The fourth house is emotional needs and nurturing. That is the natural house of Cancer. So the sun will be in Aries in your fourth house. Um, and this can also be about where you live. The fourth house can be your physical home, right? But this is the house that feels good or safe to you, right? Yeah, there could be focus. There may be a focus on that, on some type of area in your life where your needs are important, your emotional needs, or what's keeping you safe, or things like that, Capricorn, right? Mars, the planet of action and courage, enters Aries on the 12th. Is that correct? Mars enters Aries on the 9th. Yes, it does. And I'm not sure what that's about, but that's okay. Um, and yes, it does. And Mercury will enter Aries. Mercury is the planet of thinking and communication, the mind, our decisions, our thoughts, our conversations, even our goals, right? And willpower. This is Mercury. And Mercury wants us to think, it wants us to understand, it wants us to analyze. And so we have Mercury and Mars, basically conjoining, getting together up in the sky, really. And so on the 14th, this will be inviting you to step into something new as Mercury enters Aries. Mars will be there. And Mercury will be at 0 degrees. So there's a potential there to kind of think first and, maybe plan what you want to do, right? Mercury can be our planning as well. What you want to do at the 0 degree, it's potential. Like, the sky's the limit, basically. So Capricorn in that fourth house of Aries, right? Of home and family, right, or rather in your emotional needs. There could be something that you are analyzing, right, in that area, of course, and maybe something new that you want for yourself as well. Mercury definitely wants you to think before you jump, and Mars will be with it. So there is this analysis and this, planning or thinking or curiosity in the very least before you make a move, right? And so we also have a stellium in Aries, as we do, and this is right before this on the 10th, the moon is at 29 degrees. So going back to the stellium, it means there's a lot of estrellas, or a stellium is a star based on stars, right? Stell, like Stella Beer is the star. But the stellium is a lot of planets that are supporting one another, basically. That's kind of what that is. And so yeah, and we also have Capricorn. The moon will be at 29 degrees of your sign on the 10th. Yeah, right. So the moon at 29 degrees in your sign is interesting because it's asking you to complete something. It's asking you to finish something or let something go or something like that or move away from it. That is the critical degree. This can be of your sign could be a critical moment of ambition or maturity. Could be asking you to step up and do this, right? And it's possible we're in Aries season as well. It may seem emotional that's a possibility here. We have the moon trining, and the moon also will be trining Uranus at 29 degrees of Taurus. Okay, so I said the moon's in your sign. When it trines Taurus, Taurus is another earth sign. So it's very supportive for you to probably most likely embrace change and let something go, because Uranus, the planet of change, unexpected surprises, independence and rebellion even. And Uranus wants innovation, right? That's why it represents technology as well. It wants innovation, but Uranus can be like the tower in the tarot, right? If you know about tarot, Uranus comes in and says, this isn't working anymore. It's chaotic or it's unstable, and I'm going to make it sometimes very chaotic. So this ends, right? And then something new can happen. So Uranus at 29 degrees of Taurus, there is something very unstable there, or kind of doesn't feel good for sure, asking you, and trining the moon, asking you to embrace change, um, and nurture yourself at the same time. That could be kind of, that's one of the meanings of the moon trining Uranus at the 29th degree, right? And Uranus is asking you, as I said, to embrace change, even if it's uncomfortable, okay? Because that's usually what Uranus does. And there can be something uncomfortable, because Uranus is in your house of self identity. This is the house of the sun, self expression, creativity, love and pleasure, love and sex, and romantic desire. This is also the house of children and any type of entertainment or hobbies and things like that. Uranus will be there though, very in your house of the sun. The sun is how we shine as well. So maybe there is something you're trying to create that you have to kind of accept change and move into it, right? Um, yeah, and so, but the aspect is encouraging personal growth, Capricorn, to allow yourself to step into unexpected opportunities. All right. On the 15th, we have a huge planetary alignment, which includes natal Saturn, and that will be supporting your emotional stability and well-being. Um, yeah, so Saturn will be in Aries, and Capricorn, that's your fourth house, right? Yeah, that is your fourth house, as I said. But um, and your natal Saturn will be likely supporting emotional stability, supporting that house for you and your well-being, your emotional well-being, making it easier for you to embrace change or do some things differently or just innovate, right? Doesn't always have to, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Sometimes you need to improve it or innovate it or something like that, right? But Mars, a planet of action and courage, is supporting Saturn, right? Because it will be conjoined with Saturn, and Mars will be there conjoined with Mercury a little bit later down the line here. Mercury will conjoin Mars on the 20th, yeah, at 8 degrees. So there's a big transformation. Some type of something wants to transform there. With Mercury conjoined with Mars, Mercury has us think first before we jump, before we, do this thing, whatever we're doing, right? But Saturn will be there to support the structure, the form, the seriousness, and Neptune will also be there because Mars will be conjoined with Neptune. And so, um, yeah, and so when we have that here, um, yes, Mars will conjoin with Neptune on the 12th. But when we have that, we have the best of everything, because Mars is the action and the will. And then Neptune is, to believe in your dreams and also to kind of surrender to the divine, surrender to a higher power, surrender to God. Saturn is there to bring its structure and stability. And also Mercury will be there as well. Yeah, Mercury will be there, as Mercury is conjoining Saturn and Mars, and that will be on the 20th, right? So, yeah, and so when we have that here, it's definitely encouraging you to think about what you are creating or what you are doing, right? Or what you want for yourself, for sure. So we have Mars conjoined with Saturn on the 19th here, supporting your ambition. Capricorn, which is very important to Capricorns. Yes, it is. Your personal authority, your personal agency, long-term goals, or anything you're serious or committed to. All right. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining me here, Capricorn. If you've enjoyed my video, please like, share, and subscribe. The next one will be on the new moon in Aries, and that will be on the 16th. It's only in another, 2 weeks or so. And so that's going to be interesting as well, because your fourth house will continue to be kind of lit up there, right? And so, or that may be the focus, your fourth house. So thank you so much for joining me here. Yeah, and if you'd like a reading with me, check out my website. It is listed below. I do tarot. I have twin flame readings, all kinds of very cool readings, past life readings, and astrology, etc. So thanks so much for joining me here. And yes, we'll see you in the next one, Capricorn.